Steve, you were saying earlier, we have one full-time salaried theater critic left in Toronto or in all of Canada?
Toronto.
Okay. Well, how do you think this affects the ecology of theater criticism in the country?
When someone, a full-time position goes, it's not being replaced by something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're bringing in freelancers, and some of the freelancers that they might bring in at some of these outlets, you know, there are people who are writing about fashion more often than they're writing about theater, that sort of thing, right? So there'll be a reviewer, they won't be a critic, because they'll be seeing someone who sees theater only when the publication asks them to, which might be once or twice a month, right? So you lose the experience that you require to be a critic and place the show in the larger macro of the theater ecology.
I've done freelance reviews at the beginning. Then I did CBC. Now I do CIUT. I've got my blog, but I've paid for it by having full-time jobs, and usually in a university setting. And I've kept those lives separate. I think it was a surprise to people when they thought, "What do you mean you've retired from the theater?" No. I've retired from U of T as an administrator. They never knew. You know, what do they think? It is paying money here? It's not paying money.
I have this position and I don't have another job, but on the other hand, I do need to find something else. It's not enough on its own, which is, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, because I do think there is, like, I could easily spend all of my time covering theater in Toronto.
See, I did reviews for 10 years for CBC, and then they decided that they were going to stop doing live theater reviews, live dance and opera and music reviews, because they said that the demographic was changing.
It also definitely changes the kinds of shows that are reviewed and are covered.
Oh yeah.
It's more often than not, it's going to be like in a city like Toronto, when there's such a diversity between smallest indie shows and Mirvish, the resources that a paper may have are going to go to the top first, and so the smaller companies, the smaller shows, the ones with the most growth potential, are not going to be covered.
There's more theater happening now, and it doesn't necessarily depend on us as theater reviewers. They just want to do theater, and with all of these new outlets for theater going on, and the media diminishing in its coverage, then bloggers like me, or online people, or people like Carly and Karen Fricker, the few people who are left on print media, Now Magazine, etc., that serves a great service to people who want to make a decision.
I think it's something that we have to consider, and I think it's something the theater community has to consider, is how important is arts criticism, and is it important enough that they want there to be people who write about theater in this town from an arm's length perspective.